Hi guys and welcome. These are your handover videos for your Elddis 40. Starting off at the front, we'll go over a few bits here. We've got this spanner. We've got a hitch head here with a black lever which you have to and then pull down on the towable, onto the towable using your jockey wheel, and then a little green button will emerge out of the hitch head. You have your handbrake just here, and you have as well 13-pin electrics. So if your car does have 7-pin, make sure you bring yourself an adapter. On the side here, you can see we have inserts. You've got one either side and two at the back, and these are for your legs. The caravan comes with a leg winder, or you can get yourself a 19mm drill bit and fit it onto a power drill to just quicken up the process essentially. But you first level using the jockey wheel and then put down all 4 corner steadies. Now today we are using our test equipment, so I have some propane gas here with an in-date gas hose connected. It's connected onto the gas bottle just there, and then you have a regulator inside here. Now you can see it's got a bit of like a circusy look to it with the red and green. When the gas is in the regulator itself, it starts off red, and then when you feed the gas through, it will flick over to become green. That's when you know that the gas is flowing into the caravan. You also have 2 points either side, so you've got gas bottles here, and you can fit them either side. Moving along here, we have this here, which is your connection point for your water pump. Water pump connects into here. You can then press down on that and it will lock it into place. And then you have an aqua full of clean drinking water, and put the water pump itself into the barrel. Make sure though that the strainer sits at the bottom of the barrel, as otherwise it will gasp air through and you may get a bit of coughing and spluttering from your taps. Then just here you've got your battery locker. You've got a battery fitted here, and then the connection point for your mains just here. You also have a little insert just there that's cut out so that you can feed the mains lead through it, and then you don't have anyone coming up and pulling your mains lead out. Motor mover will go over on the day of collection, and then you have 2 inserts just here. This is where your wastewater will come out of. You'll need some 28.5mm waste pipe to feed into a waste master that you can then take to the emptying point on site. Then we have these 2 capacities here. These are both for the toilet operations. This top one is for the flush capacity. You will feed in your water and a mixture of pink chemical, if you want to make it smell a bit nicer, into this top part here. It can hold around 10 litres of water, and then as soon as it's filled in, the flush capacity inside the caravan would work. The motor inside the toilet will push around that water. Then below it you have your cassette toilet. This is where all of your waste will go into. To remove it, once the red button on the top of your toilet comes on, which I'll explain when I get to the toilet in the video, you press up on this orange handle and pull out just like so. Get to your emptying point on site, twist this head to the side, open this cap up. You want to tilt, and at the same time as tilting, continually press in this button here to vent. Once you've done that, what I'd recommend doing is getting some fresh water, opening up this part here, opening up there, and feeding in some fresh water there to then give it a bit of a swell out, and again tilt and vent. Then on this cap here you have measurements in both imperial and metric, and this is for your blue chemical. Blue chemical goes into here, goes onto the top of the head, twist that there, push it back to the central position and push it back into here. Now this orange handle as well, you can pull up and extend out to make it into a suitcase type thing. But you push that back and make sure the head sits behind these white teeth. And then you don't want to travel with either of these two full. So to fully empty the flush tank, you have this little bung here, open that up and drains out any remaining water. Underneath your dinette seat, you have your drain off water valve here. So we have put it in the drain position, which is this way, facing towards the door. When you want to use the water inside the caravan, you flick it that way. That will allow water to come through. We are going to keep it, as you go off today, in that position. So when you do come to use the caravan, make sure that you do put it in the correct position for yourselves. And underneath your right hand side seat, you have all of this. The majority of it is just wiring. You can see at the back, that is where your battery sits. That's the actual battery box itself. You have these two blue boxes on the side, which are the brain boxes for your quad movers. And then you have this silver box here, which if I pull this down, you can see it's for both your trips and fuses. All your trips in the upright position and all your fuses in the correct position as well. Just here we have your whale control panel. So this near enough does the controls for everything inside the caravan. You've got 3 buttons at the top. This first one is your main on and off switch. Without that being on, nothing inside the caravan will be able to operate because that controls this screen. Next one. That is for your ceiling lights, and this one here is for your awning light, which you can see just there. Apart from that, everything else is on this touchscreen, and then you have this back button at the bottom. It's going to work for it bit by bit. So first up, you've got temperatures for inside the van. To select it, you press onto it. It's currently off, as you can see just there, and then you have a few different options for heating. So you can either use 2.9, 5.7 or 11.3 amps, gas or a mixture of gas and around about 5.7 amps to heat it. Now that one says max, that will more or less heat it the quickest because that's the most amount of power coming into the van. So you can do a mixture of either. So if I were to press onto 5.7, I can not press gas at the same time. I can only select one icon at a time. With that 11.3 amps, do be aware that some sites do not have the capacity for it, especially if there are plenty of people on site and they're all using the electric, so just check that they do have the capacity. Then you can choose whatever temperature you want. It goes up to a maximum of 35 degrees. And to select what temperature you want, you just press up and down. You then have this, which is a fan button. What you would do for that is have all your windows open because it would just push the air about using the fans inside the caravan. It's not so much air conditioning, it's more just the circulation of nice, clean, fresh air. And then this button here is if you were on your drive or something like that, that is a frost protection button. So you can have that on just so it keeps the van nice and warm during the winter times so that no damp or anything like that can get in. Next, you've got water heat. So again, it's currently off and you've got a few options. Again, you've got that frost protection. You can either have it on eco mode, which is just a steady amount coming into the van, 3.3 amps, which will get it to around about 40 degrees for the water temperature, or you can have timed boost. Now, if I were to press one of these in, you can see that it starts a timer for 15 minutes. Now, I can press a mixture of both for that. So I can either use 6.5 or gas, or a mixture of both on a time boost for 15 minutes to get the water temperature up to 60 degrees. So that is ideal if you're wanting to use the shower or something like that in the morning and just want it a little bit hotter. You then have your pump button here, so you make sure that outside you have your water pump connected into the correct slot. Once that's connected and your drain valve is in the correct position, press that in and that will begin to push water through the caravan. If you haven't used the caravan in a little while, I'd recommend waiting about 2 to 3 minutes just to allow it to circulate through. And then you also have a timer button just here. To get to some additional settings, you press and hold here, and you can see here you've got a few bits. The installer section of it, I wouldn't worry too much about. If you want to learn a little bit more about it, you do have your handbooks, but you have room, water, set clock, and options. So room timer, this allows you to set timers for when the heating is on inside the caravan for the internal heat, not for the water heat. So you can see that there was already some preset options for it, and then it just allows you to set some options for it again. Now you do have to press and hold it every time you want to get back to it. And then it's the same for the water heater setting as well. It just allows you to set when you would like the hot water to come on. We've got set clock, which just allows you to set the clock. And then some additional options as well, such as screen brightness, beeping, and a few other bits. Again, if you'd like to know a little bit more about that, have a look inside your book pack and just do a little bit of research. But in summary, you've got heating, hot water, water pump, and timers. And it can also show the amount of power coming into the van. This here is your water pump. This is the part where you'll connect outside. You can push in and then press the cap down, and that will lock it into place. You have this plastic cap even that goes over the top of the ack roll to make sure no nastiness gets in. And then at the bottom you have your strainer. Your strainer has to sit at the bottom of the water barrel. When you have pressed the pump button, like I showed you on the whale system, you'd come over to your taps, open up on both cold and hot, and let it run for around about 30 seconds. And what you're wanting is a nice steady continuous stream. If there's any coughs or splutters, go outside, check that the strainer is sat at the bottom of the barrel and the barrel has plenty of water in it. Then we have your hob and grill and oven system. All of this works off gas or the electric plate, which you just switch to whatever setting you want, and that icon comes up. Everything else, it's a case you have to press in the dial, twist it to the side, it will begin to feed gas through. Then you have a button here, which is your gas igniter. Press that in at the same time and it operates. This is what it looks like when they're lit. And you can see here, nice blue clean continuous flames. What I would say as well, whenever you have gas first coming through the caravan, is come over to here and just check that everything is operating as it should do. So now for the grill. Go, you can see both sides nice and lit. And finally, if I move my leg out the way, the oven as well. Other thing to note, don't put down this glass sheet until all of the burners here are cold to the touch, and you don't want to travel with that up. Then just here you have your Dometic fridge. It's currently off right now, so there's no lights. Just turn it on, you press in this button here, you press and hold. There we go. It will flash up and go to its most recent memory, which in this case was gas on full capacity. You can see inside as well, all of the lights come on. Now for this system here, you choose the source using these buttons here, so you can either use gas, mains, or car battery. That is not leisure battery, that is for when you're plugged in with your 13-pin plug. let's say I wanted to select onto mains, and press in, and then I press in again just so that it switches over, and then I can just press over just like that. Now for gas, it is slightly different. You will gradually begin to hear the gas kick in, and then once it's stopped ticking in, that's when the fridge is lit. I can change the amount of power coming into the fridge using this button here. 5 will chill the fridge the quickest, 1 will chill it the slowest but use the least amount of power. Now I'm going to press leisure battery here, and you're going to see what it looks like, sorry, car battery here, and you're going to see what it looks like when there is a hazard. So it begins to flash up and beep at you. That's when you know something is wrong inside the fridge that's not operating as it should do. Then to turn this off, press in and turns off just like that. For the car battery option though, make sure your car's tow bar has a continuous 12-volt feed. You'll know if it does if you can activate Alco ATC with your car as well, if it is fitted. Then we have the toilet operation. You have a flush button just here, press that in, and you can see it shoots out some liquid. That's the liquid that has been filled in from your flush capacity. Then at the bottom you have a catch just here. Push that catch away from you and it opens up the cassette toilet. Pull it back towards you and shuts it up. When the cassette toilet is full, a red light or amber will come onto the top of that screen telling you to empty it. Bog simple.